Nickel City Mafia, are you ready? Bills Mafia, are you ready? I had to play something that just fires me up. I'm got some rock in me, and this is something goes way back. I had somebody make that a couple of years back, but it just felt right. What a game! Buffalo Bills. You must believe. Look, if you stop believing in Santa, the gifts stop coming. Right? We all know that. If you stop believing in the Bills, you don't get to see these amazing games. And I did hear, I got a report that some folks left the game early in the fourth quarter when the Bills got down by 10, I believe it was. And for those fans that left early, let this be a learning lesson for you. I learned my lesson back when I was 14 years old. I told that story already. I'm not going to waste anybody's time. But let that be a lesson to you. Never stop believing. Don't leave a game early. Now, for those that believe that Sean McDermott has his hands all over this offense, there are plenty of you that believe that. And I respect your opinions. But if you are one of those that believe this, then you better be praising McDermott big time, as in my opinion, he pitched a one hitter today. I know Sean always likes to use baseball analogies. He pitched a one hitter as close to a perfect game as it gets. Let's go. I got brought on, Jake can't join us today. We love you, Jake. We'll catch you next time on the Wednesday on the Midway show. But joining me today is two very good friends of the show. They're fantastic. Nobody cooler than Mr. Sean Kula and Brett McDurphy from the Go Bills podcast. Boys, Sean, how you doing, my friend?
Feeling great. Great
Feeling
win.
great?
That's a great quarterback, and we're going to continue on.
Yes. And Mr. McDurphy, how you feeling, man?
Well, I had a wonderful weekend. I got to spend some time with my family and everything, which is very valuable to me, and a great way to end the weekend after my wife's Christmas party with a Bills win. And what better way to do it with a winter wonderland and to celebrate the Christmas season by having some snow in Buffalo? Probably the last time that the Bills will have snow at Highmark Stadium.
Possibly. Possibly. What do we don't we have one more game at home? Is it the Jets to end the season?
The Eagles.
And the Eagles. Okay. So a couple more. You might get some snow. But yeah, if it doesn't snow in those last two games, what a game to be at and experience, because this is Buffalo. This is true Buffalo. Those type of winter games and holding home field court advantage, holding it. Fantastic. But guys, I'm just gonna kind of lay back here, sit back, and let you guys do a lot of the talking today. I'll chime in once in a while, but I want to throw it to you, Sean. Start us off. Where you want to start? Start talking to me about what you saw on the field today, and just first of all, make sure you start with praising, because there should be very little to no negatives. Save those a little bit. I'm sure there are always a few, but let's start with the big praises. Sean, Mr. Kula, you're first.
I mean, just offense overall was just an explosion. We needed that type of game, and when you look at the Bengals, every metric they're one of the worst in the league, if not the worst, in every defensive stat. But what has been being said by Bengals fans and media and other people the last couple weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, this defense has turned the corner, and they've been pretty good. And they did excellent against Baltimore, forced 5 turnovers, made Lamar look stupid, and that's hard to do because Lamar is such an outstanding player. And then, they're coming into Buffalo thinking that could probably do the same thing. And then, as what I expected, and what probably most of us should have expected, the offense went and put on a clinic. Now, Ty Johnson slipped on an easy touchdown. Cook fumbled at the one. We could have had almost 50 points today. We didn't really get stopped at all today offensively. Even with Ryan Vandermark in there, pass blocking was great. Run blocking was dominant, as it's been all year. Allen made great decisions. People made plays. And tight ends just balled out. And, the play calling was awesome. Whether people think it's McDermott with his hands in the offense or if it's Brady, as a collective, the game plan was outstanding and everything worked to a T. So I think you got to start with how good the offense was.
Yeah, I fully agree there. Let me throw it to you, Mr. Brett. By the way, we haven't seen you in a long time. We missed you, buddy. Good to have you back. But yeah, talk about what you saw today. And Sean, love what you had there. A lot of positive stuff. Again, you can't be disappointed in what you saw today. You might have been worried. And look, just to tack on before I throw it to you, sir, the Bengals were still a team, and they still may be a team that are in the playoff hunt. And they have a offense fully healthy right now. Fully healthy. Their defense may not be, but their offense was. And they have one of the best passers in the game. They have some of the best skilled players in the game. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. I mean, let me just give you a quick stat on Jamar Chase. 5 catches for 44 yards. Are you kidding me? That's lockdown, Brett. That's lockdown.
Yeah.
Let me, buddy.
Yeah, I'm going to say two things real quick. The first one is resiliency as a team. I felt like the Bills really did a great job of halftime adjustments. We've talked about that lately, quite a bit between Sean and I on the Red, White, and Ruthless is the halftime adjustments for the Buffalo Bills. And we started off probably the slowest I've seen in a while. And we were able to really build off of what was working on defense in the second half. And then the offense started to click a little bit more, even though they were at times, we just weren't putting up points and finishing drives. I really liked what I saw in the second half. And I think that this is something to build on next week against the Patriots. And then the second thing that I was going to say, I mean, you led right into it, Mike, is that Christian Benford shadowing Jamar Chase. Wonderful job by him, shadowing and limiting some of the damage that could happen with such an elite wide receiver in the game. For especially with the chemistry that he has from LSU with Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I mean, Benford, on a roll. Last week, I think he was the defensive player of the week, and he might have a wrap on that as well. Turned the game around big time with that interception. Unbelievable. See you out there, Big L. I want to say hi to everyone real quick. Big L comes out there, unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. Nicholas Smalter out there, what a game fan. Yep, absolutely. Weston, just hope Trek Reviewer doesn't come in. And to follow up with that, Cam Lewis and Taron Johnson from Big L saying had an awful game today. Let me just say this. Putting Cam Lewis and Taron Johnson on guys like T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, that's like Sean could probably watch him. I couldn't.
No.
That's like saying put Mike up against these guys. I'm about a foot shorter. Cam Lewis about a foot shorter. Give him a little bit of a break. And then the offense always has the advantage on snow games. Those guys know exactly where they're running to. The corners and those guys, the defensive backs, have to try to keep up with them. So, yes, it didn't look great, but you got to cut them some slack, I feel, at least. Sean, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. It's to your point about the snow game. I know we often played soft zone against other teams before, including the Bengals. But 2 of the times we played the Bengals were in conditions like this. And I absolutely get why you want to play off coverage a little bit. And, I didn't go into this game thinking, oh, Burrow's not going to do jack shit this game. He's going to be terrible because he's an elite quarterback. He knows how to get the ball to his weapons. They have elite weapons. There's nobody in the playoffs on the AFC side, at least, that's going to have offense like that besides us. We're the only team that's going to put up points like they can. So I didn't go in thinking, missing all these guys like Oliver, Hoyt, Bosa, that we're going to just dominate them. I was confident in the pass game, the pass defense, and for the most part, they did all right. But like you said, there were some mismatches that you just can't help. And then when you get no pass rush, they're able to hit those plays. So I don't want to destroy them on that. But I do want to say you give even more credit to Benford because, especially for me personally, because in the first half of the year, he wasn't good at all. And I had to let it be known. A lot of people did. And it was well deserved for him to get criticism. And especially as of late, when football matters the most, December, January, and so on, he's been playing like a guy that deserved to be paid. And, he comes out with a sack to keep him from scoring at the half. He gets someone tried to say, oh, it was just a tip. No, he read that play out. He jumped it, picked the ball off, and ran in for a touchdown. That was incredible. And he just continues to make plays. He shut down Jamar Chase. 2 of the Jamar Chase's 5 catches were, one of them was a pop pass in the backfield. That doesn't count. And the other one was a screen pass. And he wasn't even on Benford. Every time Benford was lined up on him, it was, put the seatbelt on, strapped him up, and it was what you want to see. Chase is one of the best, if not the best receiver in the league. So Benford definitely should get a lot of credit for what he's been doing.
Yeah. Keep going, Sean. Like I said, I'm letting you guys talk this show most of the time, but it was fantastic. Benford, I think the only one who got picked on, like if you look at our starters, it might be Trey White a little bit. Got a little picked on, but dude, you're going up against elite receivers, man. These are where I always like bigger receivers. because man, they make those guys look small. Like you're not that tall. Oh my goodness, it really shows on the field, and they make plays. T. Higgins, dude, what a leaping ability that guy has. You think you might have him covered? Dude just got to jump up 3 feet over you and catch that ball. But he was having of all the people on the field today, T. Higgins, even before he got the concussion, didn't like that cold ball. He was having a hard time holding on to it, man.
Yeah,
I'll throw it to you, buddy.
Yeah, I'll say this about T. Higgins. I mean, he had a good day, don't get me wrong. But if you look back at the film on him, look at what he was doing to the Bills cornerbacks. He was pushing off quite a bit. And I'm surprised that the referees were letting that get away, in this game. I felt like they were letting the offense dictate what the game was going to be like. And at some points, you got to kind of feel for the cornerbacks. When you have a hand on you that's pushing out, that's offensive pass interference. Would you agree, Sean?
Yeah, that touchdown for sure. I think T being as good as he was, and being able to not necessarily hide it, but maybe the position of the referee he wasn't able to really see. But Hairston being a rookie and all, he's just trying to keep up, and then the pushing a little bit, he kind of lost the rep there. But again, you're gonna lose against guys like that sometimes, and Trey got beat on a touchdown, but he's not physical. Hairston and Trey aren't physical corners, and T's a physical wide receiver. And I understand wanting to put Benford on Chase. Obviously, it worked, but I would have liked if it was a different game, maybe switch it up. But again, it worked out in the end and in the long run. And I still believe in Hairston, and Trey's been great for a long time this year. More surprising for me, I didn't think he was going to be good at all. Mm-hmm. And gave up some plays, but overall, I thought the defense came up with big plays when they needed it. It came up with a couple of big stops when we needed it. And this is playoff football. This is going to you play against the best of the best. I know the Bengals record's 4-8, and I don't think they're the best football team in the world, but they've said it a million times today. Burrow's 8-0 in his last 8 starts. He's 3-0 this year. He hasn't turned the ball over. They're a whole different team with him, which is all true. So now when we beat them, the energy needs to be the same about, the Bills just beat a good Bengals team. This isn't the Bengals team with Joe Flacco. Yeah, Henderson wasn't playing, but T. Higgins and Chase were fully healthy. They told us we couldn't stop the run. We stopped the run again 2 weeks in a row, multiple times this year. We did a really good job stopping the run. And then, they passed the ball on us too. But this is what would happen in playoff games. Yeah. Good on good. You get high-scoring games sometimes, and we made less mistakes than they did, and we came up on top.
Brett.
Yeah,
Brett, if you're one of those guys who believes that McDermott has his hands all over this offense, then you have to love the fact that he used the tight ends against the defense.
Yeah,
that was one of the worst against the tight ends. Smart, right? Simple.
Yeah,
we could all figure that one out. 12 targets between those two guys. Both. Actually, I got to take into the fact the other gentleman here, Jackson Haas. Yeah. So let me give you this. We had 13 targets to our tight ends. Our tight ends came down with 11 of those targets. Knox had 93 yards. It was great to see Knox out there.
Yeah.
Great to see the old Knox. Kincaid, great to see him back this game. He's got 41 yards receiving and a touchdown. And that was a laser in the snow. For him to catch that clean was fantastic. Then Jackson Hawes with one catch for 3 yards, which was a big one, a touchdown on a 4th down play. So they utilized the tight ends. So give Brady, or if you think it's McDermott who has his hands in the pot, all the credit in the world. And I know I'm kidding about, because look, I don't believe McDermott has his hands in the pot of the offense. Sure, he's going to have conversations about it, and if he's not seeing something, he's going to say it. But he's not holding this offense back, and here you go. Beautiful game plan. Let me throw it to you, dude. Fantastic seeing the tight ends in play today.
Absolutely, it was. And this was a career day for Dawson Knox. I felt like, from the beginning, utilizing him even on screen passes and just finding the openings over the middle of the field. It was really important for the Bills to strategize that into their game plan on offense. And Joe Brady and the offensive game plan that they had was wonderful, utilizing all 3 tight ends. Not only, Dawson Knox having 93 yards in this game, like you said, Dalton Kincaid having a big day, coming back from the injury that he's had and missing a few weeks, Jackson Hawes getting into the mix a little bit, even though that should have been a touchdown for Dawson Knox earlier on that drive. Just, loved what I saw from all three tight ends, and not only the things that you see with them making spectacular statistical plays, but the things that you see off the field that don't really get credit and everything, that are on the field, or I'm sorry, off the score sheet, is the blocking that you see from these tight ends. All three of them are getting involved in the run game. They're getting involved, when and making a play for another player that's on the field too that has, a catch. It's great to see the offense gel very well with these tight ends, and I love it right now. And we have three good tight ends. I'm going to say that right now. I think we have one of the best tight end rooms in the NFL, and you can't go wrong with two DKs and a Jackson Hawes that's an elite blocker in the NFL.
Yeah, so good, 100%. I want to get to Big Al's question because we love Big Al. We don't need to. We don't make Big Al wait. Where was Russo today? I think he's a bit overpaid. What do you guys think? Sean, I'll let you start with that question, sir.
Yeah, so it's hard to say overpaid just because he didn't get top tier money, but I thought he got a good amount of money, and I wasn't willing to pay him yet. I wanted to wait until after this year. So I do agree. I think this has been his best year. Today he was, like you mentioned, very, very quiet. Really no pass rush on the outside to be seen. I thought AJ had a couple good reps. Like you said, Rousseau was a little bit down on that. In the run defense, I thought they all did great. But as far as pass rush, and especially in a game today where you had no Bosa, no Oliver, no Hoyt, I would have liked to see a little bit more from Rousseau because I don't think Amarius Mims is that good. He's been improving every year, but he's not that good. And if we can't consistently beat him, then yeah, that would be an overpay. I still believe in him. I've been pretty hard on him the years past, but I felt like it was much deserved because you need to be a complete three-tool defensive end, not just be able to stop the run. So it was one of those games where he couldn't rush the passer well, and hopefully Bosa comes back next week because you're going to need it against the Patriots, and hopefully he just can bounce back.
Yeah. Did you have something to add to that, Brett?
Yeah, I was going to add to it a little bit, Sean. And I agree with what you're saying as far as the pass rushing goes. But when you're somebody like Greg Rousseau and you have a guy like Joey Bosa, your elite pass rusher, he's the closer, what Von Miller was supposed to be when he came to Buffalo. You have him out of the lineup now. You're going to be tasked with so many different options of what you have to do out there on the field. And this is a great point to make, is that not only does he have to stop the run, but he has to also be the guy that's going to get in there and make, the sacks. And I feel like when you look at this defensive line without Joey Bosa, the first person that you're going to worry about as a pass rusher is going to be Greg Rousseau. So sometimes you might see a double team or a triple team on a guy like Greg Rousseau on passing downs, or you might see a running back come in like Samaje Perine be the chip blocker on Greg Rousseau. So maybe if you look back at the film and everything, I haven't had a chance, obviously, to go back and watch the game, but you might see some opportunities where Greg Rousseau was double teamed or, situations like that where there's a guy that's coming in and kind of like chip blocking him a little bit from the right guard position or the left guard position in those cases. So it might not be that he's being effective as a pass rusher, but he's helping out the guys around him too. Back in the day when Bruce Smith was playing, you saw so many opportunities where other guys around him were getting the credit for the statistics, but Bruce Smith was the one that did it on the field because he was demanding 2, 3, sometimes 4 guys out there on the field too, and you had to worry about where he was at all times. I'm not saying that Greg Rousseau is that elite player yet, but sometimes when you're down a couple of defensive players, you have to worry about that one guy and let the other guys eat around you.
Yeah, 100%. Sports Bro 94. Defense showed up when it was crunch time. And I was talking to Sean before the show. I just feel like the defense does. They always seem to step up. They had a rough first half. It seems. I wish they didn't have such rough first halves, and then they make the adjustments. But I can always count on them to make a play and give that offense a shot, and they did. Man, that Benford interception was quite the game changer. And then the back-to-back interceptions, Burrow gets the ball again. I think it was Daquan Jones deflects it right into EJ Epinesa. Unbelievable. And again, so they showed up when it's crunch time. I feel like they do that quite often, Sports Bro. What do you think, Sean?
Yeah, definitely. And obviously the defense was concerning at some points today. They were 10 for 12 on third down, gave up a lot of 3rd and 8+, which, really makes me mad because you shouldn't be able to just give those up so easily. Yeah. But first and second down, they were very good. Stopped the run well. Even when they passed on first and second down, they were in 3rd and 5+ almost the entire game. And I'm not going to just, because the point total, because of third down, just completely take away what the defense did in this game. But again, if you're a person who thinks the defense is horrible, doesn't like the scheme, why do you go into every game thinking this defense is going to do something? Why are you shocked if they give up points? Why are you shocked if a good quarterback throws some good plays? Like, if you truly think this defense isn't good, this shouldn't bother you. It shouldn't make you surprised. It shouldn't be such a on the forefront of your mind if you already know what's going to happen. But when they do make plays, when they stop the run, when people say they can't, how come the fan bases can't be like, okay, yeah, they gave up a lot, but they shut down the run again, and they came up with 2 huge interceptions when we needed to the most. Because again, we were down because first drive we didn't go for it after Ty slipped, and then now you're down 14-3, and then you're just trailing the whole game. You needed a play like that to win, and we got 2 of them. Phillips gets his hand up, tips the ball. Epinesa's watching for the ball, intercepts it, and then the pick 6. You need those games in playoffs and big games like this to win football games. Burrow made the mistakes. Allen didn't make the mistakes. And again, it's the Bengals. They were putting up 30+ points with Flacco. So if this defense is as injured as it is, and you don't like the scheme, you don't think it's good, I think they did good considering, because they came up when it mattered most. And you're not going to win every game 40-5 or 40-0. Like, I don't know. I don't get why we think that as a fan base, that this defense is going to come out every week and just dominate.
Yeah. I feel like Brett, you ever see Brett throw a football? He's got a great arm. Like, if Brett was starting for the Bengals, I think they'd put up 20+ points every week easily. That just goes to show how good that weapons around. Like, we saw Burrow, and then was it Flacco? Flacco was doing extremely well. I mean, when you have these type of weapons, it's extremely easy to put up. I won't say easy. Burrow's elite. I'll say that right now. Burrow is elite. Dude, the guy on the run, he was impressing me when he's moving and throwing the ball. I guess he's been one of the best at that this year. So, extremely
real quick,
good.
Mike.
What's that?
Real quick. Sorry, I don't want to be. Yeah. I know people don't like when I rant 70% of the time, but
oh boy, put the rant clock on him.
But I just wanted to mention, as bad as the defense looked point wise, like Jake mentioned, you shut down Jamar Chase and you stopped the run. So if you destroyed the run, you locked down Jamar Chase, the best receiver in the league, and then you gave up a lot of points. Who gives a crap? You did 2 things that people can't do on a consistent basis, and we did it. And yeah, they got 34, but that's a really good point that Jake was making. Like, obviously you can't stop everything, and as injured as we are and as battered as we are, we stopped 2, especially the run. People say we can't stop the run ever. It doesn't matter how many times we do stop it. The media always says, oh, the Bills can't stop the run. Even Cowherd, he was like, yeah, I got Cincy went in because Bills can't stop the run after we just shut down the run last week, and he still says it. And then we do it again. Now, next week, the pundits are going to say, well, I got the Patriots because May doesn't throw interceptions, and then the Bills can't stop the run. I guarantee it. But I just wanted to chime in there and mention how they did a lot of good in the game.
Well, they must not have realized that Shaq Thompson has injected some energy into this defense since he's been there. And then it's also elevated Matt Milano's game. So all of a sudden, these linebackers are making big plays. So, well put there, Sean. Brett, am I the only one who looks at when I see the defense on the field and I'm like, why is Deion Walker not in there? I feel like the dude should be on there on every play. And then I see a lot where TJ Sanders and him are switching it up. I just feel like I feel like they got to get Deion Walker because he makes a big play early in the game on a run stuff, and dude's a playmaker. But am I the only one who thinks that?
Absolutely. I mean, I think about it every single time that there's a run play that where's Deion Walker out there on the field, He's the one that, brings a little bit of juice to that run defense for the Buffalo Bills. And then, you have some pretty decent defensive linemen that are around. And once we get healthy, I'm going to say this right now, this is going to be a scary defensive line in January when you get Ed Oliver back, even if he isn't 100%. It's going to be much better for the Buffalo Bills. You got Joey Bosa. If he can stay healthy, that's the biggest key for him, is if he can stay healthy and get back onto the field with Ed Oliver, with Daquan Jones, Deion Walker out there on the field. You still got Greg Rousseau, AJ Epinesa. This is a pretty good. I'm going to say pretty good right now, but I won't say elite yet. I'm not going to go to that level, but this is a pretty good defensive line. And you want that depth come January. You need to have it and be able to rotate, just like the Philadelphia Eagles did against Kansas City in the Super Bowl. You have to have that depth to be able to continue to get pressure on the quarterback in whatever playoff game you're playing in. But I'm going to go back to what you guys were saying too, going back to the defense. We won not only the turnover battle, but we won the game by the things that we did right, the little things like eliminating the big plays from Jamar Chase, stopping the run. There was a lot of little things in this game that really worked out for the Buffalo Bills. And that goes back to Sean McDermott and Bobby Babish making the adjustments that you need to make. And, maybe at times at the beginning of the game, the Bills thought, hey, they're going to do X, Y, and Z. But the Bengals switched it up and did something different. And you have to adjust. And the adjustments that we made were incredible. I'm so glad of what we saw. And this is the first time this season that we saw a quarterback throw back-to-back interceptions on plays. So, you can't go wrong with that, even though, yes, technically we didn't win the turnover battle because it was 2-2. The Bills only turned it over once and gave the ball back to Cincinnati. We still won the turnover battle. And when we win the turnover battle, this offense becomes a little bit more elite, and we get to see more Josh Allen out there on the field in another possession. So I'm glad of what we saw for the Buffalo Bills today.
Yeah, Steve, good to see you out there. He says the last few weeks, Cook has been all-purpose back, getting yards rushing and receiving. Kind of reminds me of Brian Westbrook from years ago. Yeah, 100%. He had a really good game. Obviously, he fumbled, and I hope he gets that cleaned up quickly. You always worry about fumbles in snow games, but, like Sean, you had mentioned that one. I mean, we were dominating, nice drive, and we fumbled at the 1 yard line. That can't happen, but, type of things happen to folks. I've seen it all the time. I've seen it in playoffs many times where somebody just going for that extra, and that's something they were talking about on the broadcast. Don't reach that ball out. Don't reach that ball out. Although he did it on the fumble at the one. That was just a nice drip play there.
Cook, some of the bad things I could say was that ball security, that drive. He technically fumbled twice. Luckily, and first of all, it wouldn't have mattered anyway because, and I mentioned it in the Discord, you can't accept a penalty and then challenge a play because you accepted it and took the play away. So I don't know why they were even entertaining that you were able to do that, because that's not a thing that you're allowed to do. And then the rules analyst said, yeah, you're not allowed to do that, so it doesn't matter. And, because when you think about it, the play got called back for the touchdown was called back for holding. They accepted it. So they accepted the outcome of the penalty. They brought it back. That means, there wasn't a play snapped, but you can't challenge it at that point. If you wanted to say, okay, I want to challenge that now before you accept the penalty, then maybe that's one thing. But we got lucky there, and then Cook fumbles on a nice long drive that could have been brutal. That could have ended the game in all reality, because that just sucks the life out of everything. And then I think they went and scored. So, it looked, even at the worst moments, this team all together, all phases went and came back. But even with that, Cook had a great game. Like Steve said, catching, running. He's been outstanding and worth every penny and then some. And I'm really glad that a lot of the Bean didn't listen to half our fan base when they said Cook isn't worth it because he only plays half the snaps.
Yeah.
But those people feel silly right now.
Yeah, 100%. Those two fumbles were on that same drive. We got the ball back after the holding call. We get the first down. It was like 1st and 16 or something like that. We get the first down, keep driving, and then we fumble at the goal line. So, Steve, I want to say thanks again. We had Steve on our show last Wednesday here. Hopefully, you all saw that. If you haven't, check it out. We talked to him. He's a great steak cook. He competes in competitions all over the country. Today, he showed me a beautiful steak, and he sent me a picture. I think it was yesterday, maybe. And he got second place. So wherever he was traveling to this week, got second place. Man, he makes me hungry when he sends me those pictures. But check out the show. Good stuff. Up your steak game. Check it out. So let's get back over here to
Mike.
Sports Bro.
Real quick, just about the steak stuff.
Yeah.
I was watching the video, and then Steve mentioned a part of the steak. I never heard the word before. I don't know if you remember. I think it starts with an S. The fatty tip of the steak.
I remember him saying it. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that night I went to my friend's house, who was a Dallas fan who loves to cook steaks too. And he had a Wagyu steak from Uruguay. And then he mentioned that word again. I said, I never heard this word before in my life. And I just heard it twice in the same day. And I just thought it was funny because I literally listened on the show and heard it. And then he said it again. So I know Steve knows it obviously, but I couldn't remember the word, but sorry to interrupt again.
No worries. We will always interrupt to talk food. So, that was fantastic. And I'm going to kind of break down, and it was a long segment, an hour and a half. I'm going to break down some of the key points that Steve pointed out for us, kind of in a short video. I'll put some pictures up there of all those great spices, some of the devices you should get to help with your steak cook. Brad, have you checked it out? Did you get to see it?
No, I didn't get to see it yet. I've been so busy, man. I mean, and I apologize. I've been off the air quite a bit on my podcast too, my channel. And, I want to get back into doing shows, but when you have a little one that's so cute and everything, and he's coming up on his first birthday, you got to spend all the time that you can with him, make memories. That's the biggest thing that my grandparents said was, make memories with your children. That's why we took him to Disney for the first time this week and had a really good time. He was able to enjoy it, and he was looking around and everything, and didn't go on any of the rides, obviously, but we went around Disney Springs and he was able to see stuff. But I definitely need to tune back into it, and I will be back on the show. I promise you guys, I've said it before, but I will be on the show all the way up till the playoffs.
All right. Well, we'll give you a break there, but check out that show, and it's called
Spinalis.
Yeah. There you go. Yep. Yeah, it is crazy, Sean, how you'll hear something for the first time, and then all of a sudden you start seeing it pop up all over the place. For instance, like when I came up with the name Nickel City Mafia, my son Brandon, who lives in Buffalo, he says, Dad, Nickel City Mafia, or what's Nickel City? And I kind of told him the story about the nickel and stuff. And then about a couple days later, because he does deliveries, he sends me pictures of all these places that they're shops that have Nickel City in the name. So he's like, Dad, I've never seen this. You mentioned it. Next thing I know, I'm finding these places. So kind of funny stuff.
Or it's like if you get a car, let's say that you get like a Toyota Tundra or something like that. All of a sudden you start seeing all these Toyota Tundras all over the place when you're driving, or if you drive for, a company, you'll see all these cars that look like yours. It's the way that your eyes work. I heard this from like a scientist. I don't know if it's true, but they say that like your vision works so quickly when you're driving that for 2 seconds, you'll look at what if it's the color of the car or if it's the make of the car, you're going to look at that. And it's weird that as humans, we work that way.
Yeah, I agree. Well, we do know our phones listen to us too, because that happens too, right? Yeah. You talk about something you ever talked about before, next thing on your social feed, you see all these stuff. But getting back to football here a little bit, I hope McDermott keeps Shaq Thompson in the lineup. By the way, you guys can do us a big favor. Take 1 second, not even 1 second. Smash that like button for us, please. Let's get that smash button hit. And if you're new to our channel, which I don't think most of you here, I don't think you are new, but if you are, drop a nickel on that subscribe button. We have a great show coming up on the 19th of December. It's our yearly holiday show. You don't want to miss it. We do some giveaways. We have some entertainment. Going to be a lot of fun. So check it out. And that's one reason you should smash that subscribe button. But many other reasons, because you have some of the best podcasters talking about Bills football right on this channel. These two, and of course we got Mr. Jake Podger, who hasn't been able to join us. He's got some other things going on, but you'll see him Wednesday. Anyhow, back to football here. Sports Bro asked the question, Sean, Do you think McDermott keeps Shaq Thompson in the lineup even when Bernard is returned? And let me just remind you before you answer this, you just paid Bernard a good amount of money. How are you handling that situation? I'm going to put you in that spot there, Sean.
It's, for the coaching staff, it's tough because when Bernard's healthy, he can make plays and he's a good player, but he hasn't been healthy, so I don't know what he's going to be like when he comes back. But even if he is 100% healthy, you can't take Shaq off the field often. You have to, whether it's working Milano and Bernard, swapping them here and there, just to give them, because they're the most, I guess they're all three of them are injury prone. But if Thompson's hot as he's been, you gotta swap out Milano and Bernard and then see what you do, because honestly, Bernard's been a disappointment this year. He's been really bad, hard to watch even at times. And I do the film on the D line and the O line, and everyone looks to D line when you can't stop the run, but they can only do so much. And when the linebackers are over pursuing and they're missing gaps and they can't tackle and they're getting washed out, the D line isn't at fault at that point. And Thompson, when he's in there, he knows exactly where to be. He knows how to hit holes. He's not afraid to pursue. Like look at that hit he had on Chase Brown. That was it. It looked like it was easy, but Chase Brown had the ball and Thompson was 8 yards away from him. He could have easily made a move on him, but what did Thompson do? Bolted right to the ball, didn't give him a chance to react, and he lit him up. He's a great linebacker. I know he's old, but for this year, he's outstanding. I'm not going to say sign him to a 2-year, 3-year deal because you shouldn't, but he's a guy that can make a difference on a playoff team and a playoff push. So I would keep him on the field. Obviously, I wouldn't just not play Bernard, but I wouldn't be in a hurry to take Thompson off the field. I would more so switch Milano and Bernard here and there.
Yeah, John Roberts says the same thing. While he says Bernard will not be rushed about getting healthy. You think of some of Bernard's struggles, and I know Sean's a big advocate. Like, if you're gonna play through injuries, I'm not gonna, give you a break here. That's your decision. Do you think that's been part of his struggles? Bernard's struggles is trying to play through injuries.
Absolutely.
Because even Shaq Thompson was injured at some point. He's missed some games. But that's probably the case, I would think, and he probably came back too soon. What's your thoughts on that, Brett?
Yeah, I think that the injuries are definitely hampering Terrell Bernard. You can tell by his game. He's somebody that, is very smart in the football world. Injuries have hampered him throughout his career, much like Matt Milano. Both of these linebackers, I'm going to say this right now, between the three, Shaq Thompson, Terrell Bernard, and Matt Milano, all three this year have been dealing with quite a bit of injuries. So when healthy, this is an elite linebacker room. You have a guy that's, a Mike linebacker that covers plays and everything, does a wonderful job of reading and reacting to the play. But I think that there's definitely an issue with at least Terrell Bernard right now. Obviously the elbow injury is hampering him, but there's something underlying, and you'll hear about it in the offseason. He'll have some type of surgery on some other body part that's bothering him. You hear about these little injuries, Sean. You probably, I imagine when you played football, there's always that injury that you hear about from somewhere in the grapevine that this happens and everything that's underlying. But, with Matt Milano too, I think that there's still something that's hampering him. You can tell that, his game isn't the same as it once was, but that's the nature of the game. You're going to have injuries in football. It's going to happen almost every single week. There's going to be something that's bothering you, but the injury report continues to grow for teams. This is the time of the year that it's going to grow, but you got to play your best football now. So we got to see what you have. And if you're not healthy, give your spot up to one of the other 47 guys on the roster that can play on Sunday. And I say 47 because you have the inactives too. You have 5 inactives on your roster. So you got to make a decision on who's going to play. You got to have the best 48 guys out there on the roster.
Yeah, this had me laughing, John. He says, I wish I was 31 like Thompson and considered old. I hear you. I hear this all the time. I'm up there in age, John, and my kids make the mistake of saying old. And I'm like, who are you calling old? Who are you calling old? Like, really? But I guess in football, over 30, starting to get on the tail end of your career. But I think Milano's been playing a lot better football. Brett since Shaq Thompson has gotten into the lineup. So I've seen improvement, and so I'm super excited with that, and I hope that continues. And let Bernard get healthy, please. Terrell, take your time, get healthy. I do still believe in you. Believe. That's by my term today. You heard it in the group chat today. That's all I was telling these guys. Believe.
Yeah.
And look what happens. Good things happen.
But Mike, real quick, last thing I want to say about the linebacker room, as a whole, you look at the guys that we have in this linebacker room. You have Terrell Bernard, Matt Milano that are supposed to be your starters, and then you have Shaq Thompson behind them, and you also have Dorian Williams. I mean, what other team can you plug and play 4 different guys into the lineup and you can have success? That's not another team that I think that can do that. So credit to Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott as a whole for having this type of depth. And I know that people are complaining about the depth at other positions. This was a really good signing by the Buffalo Bills, getting Shaq Thompson on a 1-year deal late in his career. He has experience with Sean McDermott. And I said this, when the signing came out originally, I said that this is going to be a home run signing. I promise you that. When you have experience like this, usually it works out. So credit to the Bills for, one of the sleeper offseason signings.
Yeah, 100%. Sports Bro, appreciate your questions, man. Love this stuff. I'm going to throw this one to Sean because, Sean, I saw you, by the way. We have a Discord. It's absolutely free. I always forget to put the link in the description of the show, but I will add it. I would love for more of you to join it because all of us here and others are in that Discord chatting sports pretty much 24/7. Somebody's always up around the clock. And we don't just talk football. We talk hockey. We talk all kinds of things. But football is the main driver there. So join us. And I'm going to throw this to you, Sean, because you had some choice words for Darius Slay in the Discord when you heard that he was not going to report to Buffalo. What's your thoughts there?
Well, it was more on, Beane making a rogue decision to just cut a young guy who's been with the Bills since he's been drafted, has made big plays for us when he's played. Yeah, I know people were like, well, he's been inactive. Well, Slay would have been inactive too every week. Who are you taking off the field? Like, I don't get why he thinks, oh, let's add a 34-year-old who got cut for being awful and add him to our secondary who's been outstanding all year. It wasn't the move we needed to make. If anything, we need linebacker depth, we need wide receiver depth, we need defensive end depth. And he went and goes and tries to get a corner who got released. And I know you can't talk to people, but everyone knew that he wanted to go to Philly before he got cut. I follow everybody everywhere, and Philly fans were talking before he got cut. Hopefully, Slay gets cut so we can come back to Philly. He never wanted to be in Buffalo. He never wanted to be anywhere else. He can lie and say, "Oh well, Buffalo's cold, and I don't want to move my family." He probably doesn't give a crap. His family doesn't care. Like, if you were going to go to Philly, you'd have to move your family anyway because it's not next to Pittsburgh. So, I have a senior in high school. Okay, he or she would have to move to unless you're going to keep them in Pittsburgh and then drive 3 hours to Philly every day. I don't know, or 2 hours, however far it is. And it was just a bad move. He tried to take a shot in the dark. It failed. And I'm sorry, but GMs need to be responsible for things too. GM is probably the best job in the world because you can make every mistake. And your head coach gets blamed, your players get blamed, and everyone just dances around it because they go back and say, oh, well, Beane's not the one throwing interceptions. Oh, Beane's not the one dropping passes. Beane's not the one doing this, but he's the one that brings the players in. But nobody talks about it. And then if he makes a mistake, oh, well, coaches couldn't get it right, or you can't blame him for everything, but you can though. They have to be responsible for something. He's responsible for these moves. They're not working, and he failed. And I know it's a little move that you shouldn't really care about, but it's just added to the list of things where he's messed up in the last couple of years.
Yeah. So, Weston, look at Weston. Weston is a Chiefs fan. I feel like he's given up on his Chiefs. Go Texans. I'm going to be pulling for the Texans. Why? I want to start singing "Ding Dong, the witch is dead. The wicked witch is dead." I do not want to see the Chiefs make the playoffs. We already got a shot at Lamar Jackson and the Ravens not making the playoffs. Can you imagine a playoff where we have Josh Allen and every other one of those quarterbacks who aren't as seasoned as Josh Allen? I like our chances even if we don't get the top seed, second seed, we're a wild card team. Looks like we're going to be a wild card team, although that's not etched in stone yet. There's still an opportunity for magical things to happen if you believe.
Yeah.
But I like our chances. So go Texans. Yes, go Texans. Ding dong, the witch is dead. That's what I'm going to be singing tonight. I do. And I'm going to film it. I'll put it out there as a short. Be a funny short there. But
just one more thing to wrap that up before Brett goes. You could tell that it was a rogue decision because of how mad McDermott was that Ingram got picked up. And obviously he's happy for him because he can go and he got signed to an active roster for the Texans, the best defense in the league. So what does that tell you? Yeah, he's been inactive, but guess what? For being inactive, a team that has the best secondary already picked him up. So he didn't even need to put tape out for this year, and they still picked him up because they thought he was good. And, it's I know a lot of people want to put everything on McDermott because they hate him, and I understand. I wanted him gone years ago, but players love him, and that's why he's still here at this point, and we win football games. I know it's not the way we want to win them. I know we haven't won the Super Bowl. I know we haven't made the Super Bowl. But as long as the players, majority of them like him, he's going to be here. And this was a move where Bean probably didn't ask him and went and did it because McDermott shouldn't have been mad if he said, yeah, go ahead and you let him go and then we'll take Slay and whatever. Because then it would be hypocrisy. So I think Bean just did that on his own. He made a mistake. And again, it is what it is. It's just a move that didn't work out. But
yeah. Let's start talking about, because we're gonna finish with this segment here, and that's talking about our offense and what a fantastic job they did. By the way, we've talked a lot about the defense. Defense only gave up 62 yards rushing, people. 62 yards in a snow game. You know how hard it is to get footing and be good to tackle and keep people from running? They got some good running backs over there. So fantastic job. But let's pivot to our offense. Josh Allen puts on the cape, and I don't know if he really put on the cape. He did. He made some great plays, but the whole team around them was also assisting with that. There's some great blocking going on. Josh Allen, people, 22 of 28, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, was sacked 3 times for 18 yards, but his quarterback rating, 139.7. Damn near perfect. Not far from being perfect. What a performance. Not only does he throw for 251 yards, 9 rushes for 78 yards, a touchdown. I believe this is his longest run, is what they said on the broadcast. 40-yard touchdown run. Although I do feel he had a big one against Pittsburgh last year.
That was a playoff game.
That's a playoff game.
So they're kind of playoff because that one's pretty darn far. That was longer than 40.
That one was 52, but I think they meant just regular season rushing touchdown.
Yeah. Dude, it was a spectacular performance by Josh Allen and the tight ends. I already mentioned that early on. They had between the 3 of them, they had 11 receptions on 13 targets. That's insane. So hopefully we can, hey, if the receivers aren't clicking, we got tight ends. If tight ends aren't clicking, get some plays over to the receivers. And I'll throw it to you, Brett. That performance by this offense, not just Josh, but everybody. But my goodness, look at these numbers. We ran the ball for 183 yards. That's how you win football games, my friend.
Yeah. You talk about complementary football. I mean, the biggest thing. This is a game of complementary football. All 3 aspects had some role in this game. The special teams, not so much. But, yeah, there was a little bit of special teams. Matt Prater making a field goal in the game. The special teams unit not giving up a big play. That's gives credit to them. Then you have the offense that's doing their work and putting up points, and the defense coming in and giving the ball back to the offense. That's how you win football games. And Sean McDermott talks about it. You have opportunities to win games by playing complementary football, and it's the little things that he says in the locker room and everything. And you talked about it, Sean, about what makes McDermott such a great head coach is that the players buy into his system. You haven't seen, especially in the 9 years that he's been the head coach of the Buffalo Bills, you haven't seen somebody throw a temper tantrum on the sidelines. You haven't seen guys quit on this team. And that shows a lot about the leadership around the Buffalo Bills and how they are working and keeping the locker room in check. Because sometimes when you're playing in the NFL, you have to, check your ego at the door. And that's what I really think about this team is that there's a lot of unselfish players on this team that, especially on offense, they're working very well. You have guys like Tyrell Shavers that do the dirty work and block in the game. And then you see him go out there and make a back shoulder catch on the sidelines and help out his team that way. But, this is a great performance from all three aspects. The offense did a wonderful job of helping out the defense. The defense did a wonderful job when they were struggling at times of putting up points by giving the ball back to Josh Allen and having turnovers. And that's how you win football games. And I'm so proud of what I saw from us. From the beginning of the game, I was like, oh, God, that we're going to lose by, 56 points. The Bengals are just going to run all over us. They're going to pass all over us. My head is clicking, and I didn't take my my pills to begin the game, and obviously I was wrong. But Mike, I got to give you credit, man. You never gave up.
That's right.
That's the thing. You've been through hell in your life too, man. Off air, there's a lot of stuff that many people don't know about you too. But you never gave up, and that's the biggest thing that you have to remember is over the last couple of years. This Bills team hasn't given up, and they've fought thick and thin, in these games. And they showed it week 1 of this season, what they did against the Baltimore Ravens to not give up. They showed it again against the Cincinnati Bengals being down by so much, not as much, but, a couple drives that they're down. And they came back and got the win. And this is a team that a win's a win. I'm happy with what we saw, and to be able to get a victory and be able to continue our chances of winning the AFC East. But it's complimentary football, like we said, how we won this game and doing it as a team. And that's the best thing that you can possibly have.
Yeah, I mean, well said, Brett. Well said. Very well said. Sean, that 4th down play, that
Which
throw
one?
to Khalil Shakir for the touchdown, right? No way in hell anyone gets. I mean, Josh threw it. He threw it on target, but to get it through, like the defenders were all over.
Yeah,
Shakir. The fact that it made it to him was incredible. But just what a fantastic play! And yeah, the Bills were very solid on 4th down today. Did we get stopped at all?
I think we had 2 touchdowns on 4th down too.
Incredible.
We were 3 of 4 on 4th down. We did get stopped once and turned the ball over.
Yeah, that was early in the game. Yeah,
early in the game. But I mean, as a whole, Mike, you said it. The offense clicked every which way. And I want to take a moment real quick to mention something that we haven't even talked about yet. Keon Coleman in the game. Okay, the last 2 weeks he's been in the game. But what I saw today from Josh Allen and Keon Coleman was something different. And the reason why I bring this up is because this play that I wish we had the all 22 film that we could show here. But there's a play in the game where you saw Josh make an alert and he just going to Keon, making an alert and saying, hey, I want you to do this. And it was a slant route where he wanted him to, cut inside and he was going to throw it to him and should have probably been a touchdown on that play. But the recognition from Josh to trust Keon in that situation, especially when there's some doubters that are in the, outside of the game of football that are, the media is saying, hey, this guy's going to be a bust and everything. But to put trust in the guy that, has been doubted for the last couple of weeks and to say, hey, you're still my guy and I need you here. And for Keon to make that catch in that situation, even though he didn't score, he was able to, make the correction and put his team in a better situation to score. That's what you need as a human being. And I'm glad to see the maturity and the confidence continue to grow with Josh Allen and Keon Coleman. That's something that we really needed to see, and it happened today. And I think that they can grow from this, and we could utilize Keon a little bit more, even if it's not in that boundary role where he's, getting 50-50 balls. Maybe they move him around the line of scrimmage and utilize him and take maybe a couple plays where he takes Shakir out of the slot and move him around into the backfield, situations like that. But you can start to utilize Keon in different ways too. He's a big guy.
Use him in those slants. use him on those slants, and they did that a little bit today. So use that big physical presence there. So Sean, we got a couple minutes left on this pod. I want you to close this out for us. I'll have both of you give your closing thoughts, but closing thoughts from you, my friend, and then I'll throw it to you, Brett, and then we'll get out of here and we'll go catch some of these other games that look like they're coming down to the wire, especially the Green Bay and Chicago game that just got tied up at 21-21. I'm a little bummed to see the Rams kicking the butt of the Cardinals because those are my fantasy football guys, and I need them next week. So I hope they didn't use everything there. 45-17. My God. Over to you, Sean. Close it out for us. Your closing thoughts.
Yeah. I mean, this is how football goes sometimes. You're not gonna. Obviously, we're not happy with everything. The third down defense was bad. Give up a lot of points. Fumbled the ball. The coverage on special teams was bad. So there's bad, but there's a ton of good. We shut down the run again. You shut down Jamar Chase. We offensively put on a clinic on every aspect. Even with missing our starting offensive lineman again, the offensive line dominated. Run game, pass game. Out of 28 pass blocking attempts, they probably lost 4 or 5 of them total. And again, that's an outstanding percentage. And you can't look at, they gave up a sack. You got to look at the context of what happened in that sack. So Vandermark gets beat on the outside, and Josh is trying to cut in, and then Torrance can't see behind him, and the guy is looking at Josh, and then he's able to shake off at the last second and tackle him upfield of the yard, even though still considered a sack. But I mean, you can't win every time. And I thought they especially in the snow, they didn't slip around, they didn't lose their footing. They were strong in pass protection, gave Josh a lot of time, and then run blocking. You can't find me a better run blocking offensive line in this league, and just continue to just destroy teams. And you love to see it. And Josh, man, he made some incredible play, and that's why I'm tired of people saying oh, Drake May's so good. Oh, this guy's so good. Nobody in the NFL is doing what Josh Allen does and can't. Not because they don't want to, they just can't do it. Drake May's not going to run the ball on 3rd and 15 on a play to ice the game and ice the game out. He wouldn't. He wouldn't be able to throw that ball to Shakir like Allen did in that wind with those people around. He wouldn't be able to do that. So yeah, he's looking good, throwing the ball downfield when they're wide open and completing the passes. You love to see that for him. But when you talk about an MVP player, you look at what Allen did against Lamar Jackson. I know they're not playing defense, but when you have big moments like playing a team like the Ravens with Lamar, the Chiefs with Mahomes, the Bucks with Baker Mayfield, and then Burrow with the Bengals. Look at Allen's stats in those 4 games. You can't even fathom how good he's been in those 4 games. And you look at guys like May in his 3 games against good teams. He had no touchdowns against us. He had turnovers and 50% completion against Tampa Bay. And then he did good against Carolina before they got good. So, yeah, sure, he's MVP favorite. But this is what MVP does. In the biggest moments, in the biggest games, carries his team. And, man, just like you said, those throws, big moments on the run, that one to Gabe on 3rd and long, I think it was, or 4th and whatever, rolled to his left and threw it awkwardly and threw a perfect strike in the snow and everything. So, man, just you love to see that. And just for the Mafia to understand, yeah, 9-4 doesn't. It seems like we're not that good right now, but let me just say this: every year, we either get 13 wins or whatever. Everyone says it doesn't matter what you do now; do it in the playoffs. So I encourage everyone to think in that mindset. It doesn't matter how we win these games, what the score is, how many points we give up, etc. What the heck does it matter until you do it in the playoffs? So get there, enjoy the games, enjoy the wins, enjoy the football season, and then when it matters most, I like our guys against any of these teams currently in the AFC playoff berth. So let's see what happens.
Damn, Sean, I want to run through a wall with what you just said. I mean, and I don't know if I'll come back from that, but I just want to run through a freaking wall. But Mr. McDurphy, end it for us. Unfortunately, Sean took most of your time. I got to have you keep it to 30 seconds or less. Let's go. Let's take us out of here.
I'm not going to keep it to 30 seconds or less. I'm just going to tell you that right now. But what I will say is this, okay? The media and the fan base as a whole, we always are critical of our Buffalo Bills, okay? We find ways to be critical of what we've seen from every which way. There's something that's going to be wrong. But what we need to appreciate is what we're doing right now. We're getting wins. We're back in the playoff hunt. We're not the number 7 seed now. We're the number 5 seed. We're moving up in that playoff rankings. We have teams like the Indianapolis Colts who have an unfortunate situation with their quarterback situation, with Daniel Jones having a torn Achilles and being out. And that, I'm so sorry for that fan base, and I wish all the best to Daniel Jones. We have a real opportunity to make a run here and get to the Super Bowl, win the first one as, a franchise. And I wouldn't want to do it behind any other quarterback but Josh Allen. This team is so special with what they do with him. And yes, he makes mistakes. He has times where he makes some boneheaded mistakes, but he has a lot more good times with him where you're appreciative of every moment that you have and you're in shock. And then there's times where you're like, oh my God, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. But I'll tell you what, I wouldn't want any other quarterback but him. This is a team that is special. They still have a lot that they need to learn, but what better time to get hot than in December and January? And that's the time of the year where you need to play complementary football and you need to play your best football as a whole. And I think that with our head coach and Sean McDermott and the experience that he has in the playoffs over the last 9 years, 8 out of 9 years making the playoffs, with a team behind him with Josh Allen and some talented guys on offense and a defense that has guys like Joey Bosa. You have, Christian Benford playing such a good football. This is a team that can make a run. And this is a year that it's open in the AFC. You can get there and get it done. But let's freaking finish the year off strong. Let's go out there and let's get wins, make it 1 week at a time. Go out there and just dominate and find a way to get victories. And sometimes that's the key. You don't have to be winning games by 49 points or 50 points and, pounding your chest and being hot. Sometimes you need to have a little bit of an ass kicking and humble yourself, because we're a cocky team. I'm going to tell you that right now. We are. You have a quarterback that's so freaking cocky that wants to, find a way to get a victory. But when you have those moments where you're cocky, you're going to have to be humbled. And now I think we're humbled and we're counted out. But that's the best time of the year to be a Buffalo Bills fan, because when we are doubted, we are stronger as a whole. So let's go out there and get 4 more victories, get into the playoffs, and make a freaking run and be that number 1 team at the end of the year in the Super Bowl and compete for that Lombardi and get our first.
Damn, both of you bringing it. For you, Brett, I feel like I want to drive up the mountains to the snow. There's not much snow in California, but Big Bear's like an hour and a half away. Driving to Big Bear, getting some snow, do some snow angels. That's what I want to do after what you just said. So I love it. John, yeah, we can't go past an hour. I mean, the fans have told us, they don't like to watch us past an hour. So that's why we got to shut the gate right at an hour. And Sean, you need to go, please organize the desk. It is very messy. That's what the sign says behind the board there. Sean's got some work to do.
I can't even read that.
You got a bunch of papers.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Sean and Brett. Thank you so much. You guys are fantastic. Let's go. Let's go enjoy this. We're bringing it to you early so you can go enjoy the rest of your afternoon, your evening, and have a happy victory Monday. Go Bills.
Go Bills.